So this is John Costa at the Documentary Media Centre, and we are warming up nicely, no pun intended, for World Environment Day on Monday. So it's Saturday today, Saturday the 3rd of June. So I'm taking some time to catch up with a very good friend of mine and the Parallel Lives Network and the environment, it must be said, Kavita Ashok in New Delhi in India. Kavita, how are you?
Hi everyone, I'm super excited because World Environment Day is my Christmas, is my Diwali, is my Holi, is the biggest festival for an environmentalist. So I'm really charged up, very happy to be
Brilliant.
here.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, listen, let's start on that note, shall we? Because my first note here is to say, tell us what you've been up to, because I'm almost breathless watching what you're up to on Twitter and Instagram, even accosting strangers in the street about plastic and stuff like that. So as always, using your personality as a way of engaging people in the conversation. So you said it's been going on throughout May and a few more weeks yet. So give us an idea of the sort of things you've been doing.
Uh, so, uh, I'm the kind of person who believes a lot in one-on-one connect. Even on social media, I think that when we connect to people, when we touch their hearts, they listen more patiently and they are able to give us proper response. So I thought, you know, uh, that maybe I have that connect with people. So I thought of using it on my ground campaigns. I've been doing it for a few years, but this year I jumped into it in May itself. So this campaign, two campaigns that we are doing for this year World Environment Day started in May, and then I'm going to wind up by like late June. So it's like nearly a month of campaign. It's just not one day of World Environment.
Yeah. Now it's interesting. You said something there right near the beginning, which is something that's impacting me quite a bit. Impacting, not quite the right word, but thinking about quite a lot lately. That is that building connections with people, small groups of people or individuals. I mean, we had an Africa Day event last Saturday, and then someone was like, "Oh, there was only 10 people," and I was like, "Yeah, but that was 10 people that wanted to be there, and all of those 10 people were like, wasn't that really nice having a conversation to talk about that?" And I think I'm finding that people are kind of a little bit Zoom, a little bit online weary at the moment. They want to get back to meeting people and activism. I'm talking about activism here, obviously,
Yeah.
but you're getting back to being active and connecting with people and maybe trying to start to do things. And you just said, about getting out there on the ground, talking to people. It's great that we've got these Zoom connections because you and I wouldn't be able to talk. And this is our 7th conversation. We were talking about that earlier, weren't we? But it's still getting back to on the ground campaigning, isn't it? It's really important.
John, I think COVID took good 2.5 years from everybody's lives, and you can say, and we got so used to of meetings on Zoom, on Skype, and everything. And but I am the kind of person, I still believe that one-on-one conversations, there is a human touch, which is so beautiful, you can't miss it. And so my this year's campaign is I'm not going through just media and getting to people. I'm actually not. I have all my campaigns are on the streets with people on the streets and parks and coffee shops and baristas and mechanics and carpenters. If you must have seen my post, all people from all fields of life, and it is very, very encouraging that everyone understands pollution, everyone understands climate change, whatever in the raw manner, what anything. But this year's theme, plastic pollution, everybody was happy to contribute. So that really gave me a lot of encouragement. This, yes, it works.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we've spoken, like I said, many times before, 6 times before, about air pollution in New Delhi. Now, you were talking about sort of, farmers burning fields and then it kind of coming in and causing all sorts of issues. And obviously, then you've got the traffic and stuff. And then we've spoken about plastic in the rivers and that kind of stuff. Are you feeling now that we're making progress? And I use that word very hesitantly because it can be all very doom and gloom when you look at the mainstream media. And it's only when you go out and talk to activists on the ground and people that are out there having conversations with people like yourself that you turn around and say, well, actually, the people I'm speaking to, they're all proactively recycling, or they're all proactively taking part in cleanup campaigns, or their children are learning about it at school. Do you feel that we're starting to make some kind of headway even if it's just convincing people that there's an issue.
Yeah, I see a lot of movement. Even if it comes to campaigns, I see a lot of movement in terms of people understanding what, what we are doing. Earlier, people thought, that, oh, she's just doing it for fun. Now, even people on the streets, even your friends and family thought it is just a passion she wants to follow. So now people are taking this seriously because you know what's happened? It's hit us on our heads. The pollution problem, the dirty water, toxicity of plastics in our homes, the health is suffering. So now people are understanding that this is not a joke, this is a real serious problem. And what John and Kavita are addressing for the last 7 years, 10 years, talking to people, communicating through podcasts and seminars and one-on-ones is not, actually, it's not a very, it's not a small thing because I've seen now that people are understanding. Also, they're respecting it, John. People only listen when they start respecting your work. I feel that. So when they feel that, okay, why is this lady standing here with trees and bags and talking to people? So they start. I've seen a lot of respect this time. People had, because they just did think as if it was a frivolous thing we were doing. So it really encouraged me a lot. And this year, I must add to you that the media has also been more conscious than ever. Earlier, I had to write, so I'm talking 10 years back, 5 years back, I had to write to the media, listen, 5th June is World Environment Day. Would you like to do something? Will you keep a panel on your national television program? Will you do something? So, they'd say, okay, ma'am, we'll think about it, whether we have a slot for environment or not. But look at the change now. People are approaching me left, right, and center. I'm so busy that I can't even go for a family lunch or a dinner because these days are very busy for me. What I'm trying to say is this is a change. This is a change because there's a lot of awakening, I would say, not even consciousness, awakening from the inside. Even young people want to join in a lot. And laymen on the street, I feel, at least seems to be very educated about what is happening, what is the government doing, what is the state government doing for air pollution, why is our river not clean, why is Yamuna dirty still. So people are getting that into their heads. I think until and unless the health was affected, nobody took us seriously. Now that everyone's health is being affected by the change in the climate, by change in the agriculture produce, the economy, how everything is being affected, now people are understanding. So now people are taking it seriously. It's very good. It's very heartening for me and my team here, because we always did it with a whole lot of dedication. It's good that people are understanding this now.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a mind shift really from the fact that it's affecting everybody. There's a connection with where you are anywhere in the world when it comes to pollution and climate change. It's not just something that happens elsewhere. And also the fact that I think that people like the fact they can do something about it. That's always the thing. People feel powerless when things are too big to understand. So it's about breaking it down into these smaller projects like you do, which is people planting trees, changing plastic bags to your canvas bags that you've got. Do you feel that the ability to almost take direct action, you can become a climate activist just by changing some of your habits? People feel as if they're connected now and they're able to do something more than maybe 5 or 10 years ago when it seemed to be a really big issue that was out of their control?
When I started in 2008 working on environment, people thought it is a very modern, it's a very westernized concept. They thought that I'm bringing to India. But it was never like this, because India has always been, look at our ancient history into Ayurveda and herbs and yoga and meditation. We've always been nature lovers. We've always been respecting Mother Earth. But people thought I'm borrowing it from the West, the climate activism, and now she will do this and now she'll go on strikes and all. But I never did any of those things, John. I just went with perseverance, and slowly and steadily I made way into people's heart. So I think the victory is there. To get into people's heart and let them understand, okay, yeah, she's been working hard for years. Now we understand, okay, what was the reason behind it? Because earlier people took my air pollution talk and plastic pollution request and pledges. They thought, oh, it's just a concept. She's just doing it for fun, She's left her glamorous world, so she wants to do this now. But now people take me seriously. Now when people say, oh, you are environment, oh, yeah, we know you type. So now even family, friends, I have earned a lot of respect after so many years of work on the ground. So I think patience paid off. Patience paid off.
Yeah, being consistent. I think that's the one thing I'd say since the first time I ever met you, which was on a World Oceans Day newsroom with our mutual friend Gerhardt. And it was interesting because you were talking about plastics. I mean, you're a long way from the ocean, like I'm a long way from the ocean, so we were talking about plastic maybe more sort of river related, because if it goes into a lake and then into a river or vice versa, then obviously it can end up in the ocean. So that was the connection, really. But it was really interesting because it was always about pollution, really, like plastic falling in, and the kind of the point I guess I want to sort of finish on in our catch up today was just recently I read an article about Arnold Schwarzenegger, the former actor and former governor of California, and he was saying that he just returned from Vienna, I think it was, in Austria, where he's from, where he hosts this annual conversation around sort of climate and activism and stuff. And he was saying that really we need to change or rename what we do from climate change, which is quite big, you know what I mean, and people can kind of deny, to pollution. He said there should be more of a focus on pollution because people can kind of see it, I guess, taste it as well. We often talk about air pollution. You can actually taste it, can't you? Changing the name to pollution, whether that would help more because people would be able to understand it, because obviously it's pollution that changes. That's the man-made side of climate change. What's your view on that? Because you've always been a consistent campaigner around pollution and the impact that it has. Do you think that would be helpful, or do you think we're too far down the climate change hashtag campaigns that actually to introduce pollution now, people go like, well, hang on, what do you mean what pollution was the issue the whole time? What do you think?
John, I love Arnold. I hope he listens to this.
We'll send it to him. I mean, we'll hashtag him in. You know what I mean?
Hashtag, please do that. Okay. So now the thing is that what he's saying, there's a little difference of opinion that I have. Climate change is a very broad term. It's a big spectrum. So we are including biodiversity, wildlife, how the marginal communities are being moved away from the forest, clearing of all that pure forest land. Look at Amazon fires, look at the landslides in India, Uttarakhand, and oceans, and polluted Ganga, and no clean air in New Delhi during winter season. So climate change is I think it's a big ecosystem, it's a system. When it comes to pollution, the moment I say pollution, at least people in this side of the world, the East, will think firstly of air pollution and second water pollution. So that will narrow down the concept. When we say, let's name it just pollution, that means you're narrowing it down to these two, three things. Even noise pollution is not like although it's a big menace, but people are not addressing it much. So it zeroes down to air pollution and water pollution. Of course, they are a big menace, but climate change is a bigger term. He's right in the sense that people connect more when we talk of pollution. So when I say, people say, oh, you work for air pollution, you talk for air pollution, they connect more. When I say climate change, they don't understand, okay, it's climate change. So what all are you addressing? What all are you working on? So to connect to the lay person on the street, to connect to, maybe, suppose I'm talking to a street vendor, I'm talking to a fruit guy, I'm talking to somebody, a bus conductor, they would connect very quickly if I say I'm talking of air pollution, I'm talking of dirty oceans. Oh yeah, snap. The moment you say, I work for climate change, they think you're some professor who's only talking big and you're not doing any groundwork. So I think he's right in the sense when it says connectivity will increase many, many, many folds when we talk of pollution. But of course, it is not inclusive of many other topics. It doesn't include a lot of topics. So when we talk of communities, when we talk of environmental justice, when we talk of loads of environmental cases which are hanging, back, there's a huge backlog even in environmental courts in India of so many cases. So where is all that? So everything that all will be included in the climate change, and it's the factory of so many things. Pollution is, I think, zeroing in on one dot in the whole problem. Yeah. So I hope one day we both of us, me and John, we should go for Arnold's this whatever session he has, and next time we should go.
Go and visit him. I'm sure he'd be delighted to meet us.
Yes.
I mean, now since also, like I said, since we've met now the last sort of 4 years, we've touched a couple of times on the role of politicians, ultimately because they're the people that can influence things, make laws that can then influence people that are polluters, or make things improve the environment. Do you feel that with the conversations that you're having on a day-to-day basis, and obviously coming across people involved in politics of all parties, of all kind of stuff, I'm not trying to pick on anyone in particular, the conversations you're having with them, things like climate change and pollution, are more kind of connected with those conversations that they're having from their campaigns? Are you seeing it more in people's campaigning talks and campaigning literatures? Are you finding more politicians of all levels more willing to, even your observation of the media there, more willing to engage in answering questions or debates about the subject, because they can see not so much that it's a vote winner, which from a political point of view tends to be the reason someone would have a conversation, but more about actually it is important and it affects other people, and maybe people vote for them because they are interested in this more than they were previously?
It surprises me now that suddenly politicians at every level, whether it's the councillor, whether it's the state level or the national leaders at that level, everybody's now started talking of pollution. Oh, polluted river, oh, polluted oceans, oh, the polluted air. Everyone thinks it's a fad. Firstly, people think it's a fad. And second, normal people think it's a fad to talk about it, but the politicians are using it for elections to win votes, So they are using it to win elections. But I think that the people are very smart now, because they understand it's just an election, agenda. Ultimately, the real work will be done by the ministry, the policy making. So if the political will there at that level is very strong and pure and clean, hence from there it'll filter down. And there are so many people in the chain who will be making it happen: bureaucrats, policy makers, people who are implementing, NGOs, students, and climate activists, and people who are also nature lovers. So actual action will come from the government, and implementation will come from the people. So I think politics, leaving politics aside, we'll be better off if we just focus on what is the policy made and how it is to be reaching the ground level. What happens? Good policies are only in the files and they are kept in the ministries. So let them come down. Let us see them, manifesting on ground. So for me, to make a statement and say, suppose how is Europe doing in climate change? What is India doing? I want to see what is happening on the road. How clean is the air? How good is the water that I drink? And are my children not falling sick because of the pollutants? What about the plastic in my house? Am I able to substitute it? What are the alternates available? So, it's a big industry. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of politics involved. So, first come first, the best thing is that there's a lot of consciousness about it. People are waking up and understanding, and that it's just not for votes. You have to show some action. So it is better than when I started. Much better than that.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Ultimately, I guess if you can look back and see some progress, then it's a positive thing. So let's just finish off with, you said next couple of weeks you're quite busy as well. What sorts of things have you got lined up?
I've been on this World Environment Day, as the theme is Beat Plastic Pollution. So we have this one campaign which I've been running for 5 years now. Maybe because I could foresee that after 5-10 years, plastic pollution is going to be a big mess. So 2019, we started this campaign, which was called Say No to Plastic Bags. And I'm sure by now everyone's very familiar with my Go Green bags. They're very popular in the social media. So we're giving all these canvas back. So this is one campaign. This is a very one-on-one campaign. It's not like I would give 500 bags to somebody who's, some politician who's doing a rally and say distribute it. No, it's not like a freebie. It's not a free bag. You have to earn it. You have to talk to me or the people or our campaign and at least participate, open up a conversation. It's a token of a promise. It's not a freebie. So that's what I tell people. People say, ma'am, give us 10 bags. We will distribute to our family. I say, no, it's not for that. So this is a message that I give. And also we are giving away a lot of fruit trees, because I think that, when you gift a fruit tree, it lasts in the family for long, long years, and people do enjoy when you give them a gift. So if I think gifting a tree can make people happy, make their home green, and also get a little consciousness that, okay, I have this tree now, what do I do? How do I take care of it? When will the fruit come? When will the flower come? So then comes a commitment. So that's what I want from people. I am just looking for commitment for the environment. I'm very happy these two campaigns are doing well. This will go on at least in the mid of June. And as a promise to everybody, I will keep doing this till the end of my life. However old I may get, environment will be always on my top agenda.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about 1,000 years. That's probably what we need now. We need you to keep banging on the drum about climate change and plastic for another 1,000 years. But anyway, I wish you well for the next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
I look forward to catching up next time as well. Come back and tell us how you've been getting on. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. You're always a very sort of upbeat and positive and stuff, and I think sometimes the people that watch these things, including myself, need to know that you're out there and you're doing these things. So all power to you, and please take care.
Thank you, John. Thank you for everyone for watching this and being with us. Happy World Environment Day. Go green and beat the plastic. Thank you.